Miss Brenda.
I'm here.
There you go.
Here.
Okay, he had to leave.
Hang on. I gotta crunch a crisis first. Hang on.
Brother Cosmic had to leave. He had a client.
Okay. What is?
And I have to go cook dinner soon, too. I'm a little late.
What am I gonna do with all of y'all?
Huh?
I don't know what to do with y'all.
I know.
Bye. We got to time,
nice time.
y'all. Bye.
Bye. Good night, y'all.
Y'all go bye-bye. Bye. See, and I had Shekira here too.
Oh, for real?
I had Shekira here too. See, y'all just ain't no good.
Greetings.
See?
Greetings.
Greetings. How you doing?
Hey,
Yes, ma'am. Long time no see. How you doing? Everything good?
Go ahead.
Good. I'm up in here starving.
Is it hot?
Whoa! Yeah, it's hot. Y'all have a conversation.
Okay.
Let me send this email.
What are we supposed to be doing?
I don't know. Who said y'all get ready to eat? I mean, hey, I will go eat whatever y'all gotta do. I just want to send my blessings and say greetings.
Okay.
Right. This is the
all in the Middle Passage Remembrance.
Right.
Oh, can you tell me? Okay, so you know how to make chewies?
I know how to make the original way, and then I know how to make it a little bit defined with the no brown sugar, no white flour,
You said no brown sugar, no white flour?
Yeah. So I don't know if you know. Have you heard of my page or my chef site?
Probably not. No, I'm trying to
figure out who I am, right?
Greetings by any means. This is Chef She on this Sunday Sessions. Today, I hope you all are doing well. I am out here on my porch today, eating my medicine in contemplation and reflection of some things. And I just wanted to share some things with you. What is your fuel? What is your medicine? What is your source of keeping your immunity up today? What are you intaking? Are you eating processed foods? Are you eating fast foods? Are you eating a combination of excess cooked foods, foods that combine and create mucus in the body that are in excess and destroys the immune systems? Is the food that you eat part of your culture? And if it is a part of your culture, is it a part of the original way that you ate? Is it a part of the original ways that your culture ate, or was it something that was given to you that you were forced to eat to make up your culture?
Okay, well, I'm Chef Shekira Levins. I am a 24-year culinary chef. I'm 11-year plant-based vegan chef, and so certified holistic nutritional consultant. And I specialize in a variety of different plant-based meals, mainly farm to table or farm to chef meals, and that's what I do. So I challenge myself throughout my career to make adjustments to food and nutrition by teaching and going out to learn how to prepare foods a different way without certain additives, without certain preservatives, cholesterol, fat, different things of that nature. So that's me. In the short,
That's cool. I mean, because that's good. That's good because chewies are not healthy, and we know that.
But they good. And chewies is chewy. That's what I was like. Oh, chewies with or without the powdered sugar on top.
Yeah. Okay.
With the powdered sugar on top.
I mean, as long as it tastes good. I had no idea there was another way to make it, so that was new for me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can just modify the way that the sugar is prepared and change the sugars, change the breads, and change the dairy. So that's what I do. I go in and dissect certain foods and transition them into more healthier options.
And we definitely need that. in the
Oh yeah,
community, for sure.
what
Yeah.
we're dealing with right now, especially with the coronavirus, as for our people, and say African American people are the ones that are hitting the highest amount of health disparities in our community due to the underlying ailments of coronavirus. So at the same notion, we are, including healthier foods into our program. We got to go back and say, okay, well, what are the foods that we are eating or we're eating, and how to put all those things together and then give that information out into the communities to help, change these disparities in our community. So that's where I step in at. And with Gullah Gardens, is the name of my business. I've had Gullah Gardens for the last 2 years officially. But in regards to business, 25 years. And working into utilizing more farm-to-table foods, more plant-based foods and eating, as well as promoting and teaching more so about the health disparities in our communities. Just changing up the demographics, getting people back into eating like grandma and grandpa did, grandpa did, before all the chemicals and the processed foods and things.
Yeah. When I was growing up, my grandmother had a garden. Right in the yard, right? And they're from the country, so we grew our own food. We canned and bottled our food for the winter months.
Yes, it's recording. You done been to the spring?
No, not yet. I'm going a couple days ago. I'll be going Tuesday. Go ahead.
What they went? Bye-bye? He punked out?
I think he left.
Is this the interview, Miss Brenda? Are we?
No, we're gonna make it. I'm making use of the last time that you asking good questions. I know how to cut it up.
No, I don't think it's the interview, but I'll definitely, be back. I'll be back. But I wanted to come by because I was here delivering some drinks and things, and she was like, "When you coming?" I was like, "I'm here. I'm here now." So, this is hibiscus.
Hold up. See, I got a full screen. I don't know what you're on with y'all. I know how to edit.
Just no, I don't want to. This right here is a blend of hibiscus, ginger, herbs, and spices to help boost your immunity. Hibiscus plant, of course, is native for our culture, especially called Jamaica, as we call it. Or somebody call it sorrel when they blend the herbs and spices all together. So putting it all together and changing out the sweeteners, making it more of a date sugar and a date flour. Big up Jamaica, big up. And just changing out the demographics of it and helping it keep it fresh. So I'm giving that to Sister Brenda. That helps build her immunity up, helps cleanse your blood. It helps detoxify your cells. And it's a great vitamin C boost too, and it's good in iron.
Oh, that's good to know, the iron part.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Iron is a necessity. It's a necessity in what we need in our bodies. Yeah. So tell me a bit about yourself. I'm trying to fix your face with memory. I don't know. Did you go to the middle cancer ceremony last year?
I did. I spoke just briefly. I did the inspirational poem at the beginning. Yeah, that was me.
Yes. I remember you. Yes. I was so overwhelmed. I'm always overwhelmed every year that I go. There's a great presence in that area that I love when we congregate, especially by the waters and by walking. But your poem was the first time that I've seen someone do a spoken word piece. And I was like, okay, next year I got to come with a piece. I got to speak. I got to do something next year. But I loved it. It was beautiful.
I appreciate it. Yeah, this will be my second year, so I am still learning and still so very, very honored that they even invited me and some other people on board to help along with the tradition. So we definitely want to keep it alive and give it some new life. I know Corona has, kind of put everybody upside down. But the way that all of this is coming together and we're able to build like this and showcase so much of the history for everybody to see, I don't ever you know, everything happens for a reason. I put it that way. I think it's going to be excellent the way that it's turning out.
So did you find yourself, so this is your second year. So how did you find out about the middle passage ceremony?
Maybe about 5 years ago, I think. Excuse me. I considered myself to be kind of a lone ranger out there. And then about 5 years ago, I got connected with the Charleston conscious community, like a better term. And it was so much that I didn't know that was going on.
Right.
Yeah, I just had no idea. And so
everything was here. That all this history and all this information, all this culture, all this validity was right here on the crest of the edge of America. I was impelled, you know. I was like, you know, we have to be a part of it. You know, spiritually, you feel connected to not only the history, but just the legacy, the part in preserving and keeping our culture whole. To me, means a lot every day. And I'm the type of person, I like to go get into the full experience naturally. You know, meeting you right now, to me, is a natural spiritual occurrence, because if I didn't come to see Miss Brenda, you know, I wouldn't have been able to sit and meet with you. So, and this is a part of our connection that we have, especially having this as a part of our Sankofa Remembrance, and commemorating our ceremony coming up soon. So it's all about us unraveling and unlocking the doors and opening up, because my story is so extensive. We're gonna have to definitely sit down and share a little bit. But I went to college in Johnson & Wales University in downtown in 94, 95. And I was only down here in the South for a year. I lived in Bowman, South Carolina, in the country with my father's and his wife's people. And I'm originally born and raised in New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey. So when I left high school, I wanted to change. I knew a family down here in the South, especially South Carolina, Allendale, Barnwell. I don't know if you're familiar with those at Fairfax County, Estill, South Carolina, down in the deep South, down there. And that's where my grandfather and my grandmother and their family are from. So when I moved down from Jersey to live with my father, my grandfather said, "Hey, your peoples is up the street. You better go and see your peoples," you know. So and sure enough, about an hour and a half away, my grandfather, my grandmother's side of the family were down, you know, lived here, and we started just visiting more, connecting the pages. I was in school, so the first year I was down here when I went to Charleston, I was shell shocked, you know, because I'm from New Jersey, where there's a conglomeration of, you know, all different cultures and customs up in, you know, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. So you get an array of a little bit of everyone. So when I came down to Charleston, I saw these people with this beautiful brown skin and big eyes and big smiles and this language that sounds like Jamaicans, you know, like the Jamaicans that I used to be with up in New Jersey, New York, and putting the pieces together. So I'm like, what really is going on here? You know, so that kind of opened me up to learning that there is valid history and culture here in South Carolina. So I started leaving school, and then as I left school, I would walk around certain areas in Charleston, King Street, Nassau Street, Lime Street. I was everywhere, you know, just kind of getting my feet wet, you know, and finding so many different things to read and learn about. You know, I left. I had my first child down here in South Carolina, in Charleston, and I just grew to know so much. I had left at one point and wound up coming back. And when I came back, I just opened up a whole nother crest of the story, because I didn't know it was defined as much from everything that I've learned in life. I did not know that my family, coming from a family reunion in Charleston, we had about 4 years ago, our family reunion we have the banquets, and the banquets start talking about your history and your legacy. So we start to speak about how, in fact, that our descendants were from the Gullah Geechee tribe and Gullah Geechee ancestors. I was like, what? And then they were saying, then our family link was from Ghana, West Africa, because there was an ancestor that by the name of Tuesday Wilson Seabrooks is our family line name, Wilson, Seabrooks, Sanders, and a host of others. But this tied into my ancestor from Ghana, West Africa. So I was like, oh, it's official. I got some clarity here. This is why I'm here. This is why I was brought here. This is why my spirit brought me here and brought me back here. Because I've always been a historian for the last 20 years, and I've gravitated towards Charleston so much, and just spiritually being finding out about everything that led me to learning more. I discovered more about food, more about farming, more about getting my planting herbs in the ground. I started learning about herbology, chemistry. I've been an herbalist for 20 years now, and I've been cooking and modifying foods, for the last probably 15, 20 years. And so putting everything together has opened up a spiritual awakening for me to carry on in learning not only the Gullah culture, but my West African culture, and so many different walks of life that I am a part of. My family comes from a line of so many different religions and cultures, and even Native American cultures as well. So I'm just kind of glad to be a part of what's happening this year. I think this is my sixth year coming this year, and every year gets better.
Yeah, it does.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Oh, that is so awesome. It's funny that I'm meeting up with you now because I just went to the grocery store and I got everything I need for my smoothies, right?
Your smoothie?
For my smoothies, yeah. So that's the start of me trying to change a little bit, how I'm doing this thing. Yeah, I'm getting older. I'm not gonna say how old I am. I'm getting older. So now I'm, thinking about things a little different. Everything isn't as resilient as it used to be. So but it's not that easy to jump into that mindset because I was talking to my friend earlier.
When you eat, or just change it. What kind of mind state?
Well, like I was talking to my friend earlier. So I have 4 children, but they're big kids. Andrew will be 21 tomorrow. Kevin's a freshman in college, and Markel, my nephew, he's here. He's 6 feet, almost 200 pounds. And so when I cook, I cook so that everybody can get full. That's my intention when I'm cooking. So we eat a lot of rice. We eat a lot of, just heavier food. So I cook real Southern. I eat what did I make last night? What did I cook last night? I don't know. Some baked beans and rice. That's very heavy, extremely heavy. And then you have a meat on the side. I don't think I'm interested in becoming a vegetarian.
Right.
But I do need to clean up. Everything can't be heavy. It can't be meat and rice and bread. I'm big on bread. I'm big on carb. But it works though, right? Because if I don't feed them like that, 3 hours later, they're back in the kitchen looking for something to eat. And so that I think that's always been my hang up with trying to eat better. If it was just me, I could see me doing, or if it was just me and the smaller kids, right? Yeah. But just trying to keep those, oh my gosh, just trying to keep them full.
You said some key things there. And I understand, I have 3 children too, and they're 22, 20, and 19 now. And their diets fluctuated. And I understand where you are and where you're coming from also, because you said some key words there. You said to make them full, you know, which is true. You want to be able to give them things that's going to be filling, but and also nutritious. You know, also we got to think on the lines of, you know, is it healthier for them? You know, or is this a healthy combined option? Because a lot of times what I've learned growing up and eating foods and learning, studying about foods, is the way we combine our food is one of the problems. Like you said, we eat Southern. I eat Southern, but it's Southern. The vegetables are steamed. They're not sauteed hard. They're not added fats. You know, I took. Some people might not like it. Some people beat me up about it, but I took the pork ham hocks out of it.
Yeah, the pork, that was easy. The pork was easy.
I pulled away a lot of things that people was pouncing me on. This is not this food. It's not, just gotta have this, it gotta have that. You know, we're a bit more so off of flavor a lot of times than nutrition. When we have food, like you said, we eat from the South. We're Southern people. The Southern foods that we ate, and of course that are indigenous to the South, like the fresh fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, and seeds that we do eat and are still being cultivated, that's a Southern food, right? So when we mix commercialized processed foods with our Southern foods, then it starts to become an added problem. When we're using artificial sweeteners to sweeten our teas instead of natural sweeteners, that we're using artificial dyes to give our children as drinks instead of 100% fresh pressed juice, you know, that starts to become a problem. Because now we're dealing with how our body reacts chemically towards the foods that we're taking in for nutrition. So, so if we're starting to change the way we eat, we don't have to put a title on it, you know. Like I've grown to slice away more so the titles and look at the substance, you know. Is my child anemic? Are they getting enough iron? Are they getting enough magnesium? You know, they have to eat different. When we grew up, it was like, hey, everybody eat what you eat. Don't get off the table till you finish that food, you know. And a lot of times, you know, certain foods that our bodies naturally did not want to eat, but some of us were force-fed foods, you know. That was in certain places. My mama never force-fed me, but there was experiences when I was around people and I was like, you're going to eat this and this is what you're going to eat, you know, because this is what we had. But so when we're thinking about preserving the foods and giving us foods that are going to nourish our body and give us strength, we got to look at it as what it is and not what the purpose is, because they're going to, the less value the food is, the more the children are going to burn it up and they're not going to take it in. It's going to be just like eating air, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to have the calories, not the calories. It's not going to have the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that we need to help us sustain our bodies so our bodies can properly function. You're going to burn out junk food, you know, not saying that, but the majority of the foods that are in a lot of desert communities and a lot of communities that are especially here, especially throughout the years since we've seen living around Charleston, is a lot of the foods are shipped in, brought in, different companies lined up, produced and processed and put in our areas. So now we have no fresh fruits and vegetables. We have no local farmers markets in certain areas. We can't get fresh food. They took down the doggone Piggly Wiggly and changed the BILO. And then went ahead and changed it, you know, now nothing, you know, especially a lot of other places. And then you got high-end places that you got to go all the way to Publix, you know, and you Harris Teeter. You know,
Harris Teeter 2 miles out.
Right. And the bus route, in the bus route, or if you're walking. So it's like, you know, we need more community action. We need more community gardens. You know, if we are a culture and we're supposed to be cultivated in our culture, why don't we have more access to fresh fruits and vegetables in our culture? This is what the culture needs. You know, this is how we are preserving the culture. You know,
you know what else is missing? So when we were younger, just like the ice cream man used to come around, the ice cream man goes around with the truck. When I was younger, a lot of the farmers used to come through the neighborhood with their trucks, with their pickup trucks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we would get a lot of
The
our
fresh fruit.
fresh fruits and vegetables. Yeah,
In the
like
passage, yep.
all the elder women would be at their gate.
Mm-hmm.
They got their money. They know what they're gonna get. They, you know, I think that something like that is necessary in food desert areas,
especially now during this pandemic, and people, our elderly people can't get out, you know, let alone the children, because they're used to going out to the stores or going out to certain places, especially when school lunches slowed up and children can't get adequate meals now because they were relying on, dependent upon the schools to help feed them due to the economy of our communities and whether or not we're getting a stable nutrition. So it goes hand in hand for us as a people to include nutrition and health in our culture. And this is a part of our cultural remembrance because okra, good for the system, cleanses the system, good for constipation, you know, takes it down, breaks it down, you know, same thing as watermelon, flushes the system right now. These are the times right now, especially this season, where we should be eating more food to kind of flush our bodies down. You know, we need this. A lot of us have been in the house, in homes, we're mobile, we're eating, you know, a lot of foods, maybe frozen, preserved, canned, but it's what we have. We got what we got. You know, because we ain't starving. You know, if I gotta turn around and make some eggs and rice, I'm gonna make some eggs and rice. You know what I'm saying? If they have to come to that. But until then, there's nothing wrong with no black beans and rice and brown rice. You know, but they don't have to be the white enriched when they pull the hull out and they separate it and they give us this cheap plastic stuff for 99 cents in a bag and tell us that this is rice. No, this is not our original rice. This is not the golden rice. You know, so it's just a matter of coming in to be aware of what we had and keeping it growing. This is a part of us to keep ourselves growing. This is what our children need to preserve. This is about preserving culture. You know, you gotta eat.
And yet again, Sankofa. Like Sankofa is always the answer. It's just, it just always is. There's no reason for us to try to reinvent the wheel or say that we want to go through all this trial and error that our ancestors have already done. They've already done that.
Yes. Would
we
you
just
think
have
that?
to be humble enough to look back and reach back and do that.
Yeah. Can you see our ancestors eating on a Big Mac? You know what I'm saying? I can't see us garbed or not even garbed, just taking in somebody else's culture of foods. You know, the standard, well, they call it the standard American diet, you know, but we're not just American, you know what I'm saying? You know, so we have a cultural way that we should eat, you know, just like, you know, if Japanese people eat Japanese food, Chinese people eat Chinese food, Italian people eat Italian food, you know, Ethiopian people eat Ethiopian food, Jamaican food eat Jamaican food, you know, so what type of foods do we eat?
Right. We have a ton of food that we eat.
Exactly. Some people say
we have our culture. It is
right. Okay, well, soul food. Okay, so soul is spiritual experience, is the essence of you, right? That describes the feeling that we feel when we're preparing the food. So that gives it that spiritual love and care, and your mama in the kitchen stirring up the grits and making the cakes and pies, you know, that's the spiritual essence of the soul food, you know. But where is the culture attached to the lineage, attached to the remembrance of the food, you know? So we gotta get back to that.
Very good. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this. My elders, my grandparents, great grandparents, all of them ate pork. All of them ate rice.
That's right.
All of them ate all of the things that we can point at now and say, okay, that's not good for us. And so something had to change, right? So we know that they're processing the food is different. We know that the meat, the animals are kept different. They're not, they're not on a free range on a farm and taken care of. They're all like, and I'm so sorry if you can hear my boys in the back. Please let me know if you can hear that.
That's right.
But and those elders, the majority of their food was grown from the earth. They went right outside, picked it up, and they ate it.
That's right.
And so those elders lived until they're 190.
That's right.
Well into their foundation, what they're made of. Yeah,
that's right.
What they're made of was different. And now our elders are dying in their 60s.
That's right.
Somewhere in the 60s, that's like the end of life for Black people. And I don't understand that, because I remember a time, maybe 7 years ago, we our elder in our family, she was almost 100 years old. She passed away. I'm used to seeing that. That's what I'm used to. I'm not used to, if someone has diabetes, you hear about it. Somewhere down the line, a cousin somewhere got this thing, but it's certainly not like how it is now, where every other person seems to have diabetes or something.
13-year-old children have diabetes. Okay, right. Taking insulin, at 13 years old. Obesity.
But those babies start off from the bottle, drinking juice, drinking sugar water, drinking, all these things that, of course, their bodies can't digest. They don't know what to do.
Our nutritional education should come in a larger scale now. There's chefs amongst our culture and our food service industry that know the knowledge and curating of and preparing of how to cook and create our foods. Most of us learn by watching our elders. I learned watching my grandmama, my granddaddy, at younger ages, watch them plant, watch them outside, watch them in the garden, but like you said, it's different now. It's different to harvest chickens and cows. When I moved down here from Jersey, it was a whole cow pasture across the street, across the road from where we stayed. They graze. They're not in these processing plants. They're not getting shoved up the rectum to with oh my gosh, so they can impregnate the other cows. And they're not getting injected with hormones and pumped with fillers and things that when we consume it, it starts to become us. When the food becomes a drug, anything heated is a drug, no matter what it is. If it's a heated herb, if it's a heated, food as you cook it and prepare it, So once these things start to go through the process of how it was grazed, from how it was prepared to how it gets to our shelves and preserved, that's when it starts to become the problem. So we got to look at it and be responsible for what we're eating. We label them as much. We're not asking for it. I think if we really wanted to make some changes in what we want to eat and eat a little bit healthier, we could work on a lot of ways that we can say, hey, we don't want this in our community. We got too many. We don't need this extra gas station ran by people that don't live in our communities, here in our communities, giving us, these things because we eat them because it's available for us to eat. Yeah. And they have our people in there working in the back because they need jobs. At the same time, we're helping feed us to harm us. And then when we turn around and find out why are we African Americans facing the highest rate of involving coronavirus, we turn around looking at them like, okay, well, we're giving each other the symptoms nutritionally, that's inherent to it, so it's just about self-responsibility. I've been around for 44 years now. blessings and thanks to the ancestors. And I've seen a lot in the food service industry, especially down here in downtown Charleston, as well as other areas of how we cook and prepare our food. And the times have changed, you know, and the way it's being prepared, everything is so sped up. In the next couple of years or so, it's going to be robots in the back of the kitchens, dipping and frying and preparing foods. And it's already lined up right now. People are already investing in these things. So you don't have a spiritual hand on the food preparing it anymore. Now you have robotic hands. It's like how a lot of processed foods are being made in factories. So you lose essence of the touch of the food when it's out of another person's physical hands and into a mechanical type source. So it's
I absolutely agree.
yeah. So we gotta learn how to get back in them pots again, stir like grandma did, farm like grandpa did, you know, herb up like grandma and grandpa did, you know, and go through the responsibilities. Sankofa.
Sankofa. That's right. It's always about Sankofa. And our grandmothers also, and we don't do this, and it's so necessary. They also made sure that we cleansed and detoxed. So if you went during the summer, right, to your grandma's house, you probably have to take some castor oil. She gonna give you something. Yeah, she gonna give you something to get your bowels moving and to clean out your bowels. We don't do that anymore. It's like they lived long because they did things different. They grew their food and all that, but they also did things with their bodies. They probably wasn't even thinking. Their mamas did it with them. You know what I'm saying? They don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. But as you know, I'm 42, so I consider myself to be an older mother compared to some of these, you know, other young mothers. But that's not even, they're not even thinking about, you know what I'm saying? You got to constantly remind them that you need to, I get it when a baby is real young on breast milk and things like that. You don't want to introduce water, but as soon as they start eating food, you need to make sure that that baby has water. That food needs to be able to move through the system and that. And so, you know, it's just those old things, those old sayings that that came back to me when I was raising my children that I don't really hear anymore. And I really do think that we've lost a lot of our survival instincts, those things that helped us survive as a people, no matter which continent we're on, here or the motherland. But, you know, those things matter. And I think the narrative is changing. I know it's changing. Know? Just look at you. You know what I'm saying? You and there's some other chefs that I've met over the past couple of years who've inspired me. Like I said, I'm just so old Charleston. All I know how to cook is what my grandma, my mom showed me. So the change will start with me, right?
And we're attached to the essence of how the food was prepared because we got that glitch, you know, and it's that love switch, you know. So we're putting on what we know that we knew how to make because it was made with love. And this is, we're not intentionally trying to give our children diabetes or, you know, any underlying diseases and things, but with more education on what used to be made and created and ate then, how to preserve it and keep it what it is now and teach the youth. I don't know why it took home ec out of school systems. We have no home economics in the school systems. How are the children supposed to leave from school? That's why we teach them at home.
That's why we teach them at home. That's exactly right.
That's the best teacher. You are the best teacher. You are your children's doctor. You are your children's nurse. You are your children's lawyers. You are your children's debate team. You are your children's warriors, you know, nurturers. We all are a part of the development of our children. And once we start to invest time into learning more about what they need mentally, you know, mental nutrition is key. because we can go in and tap into holistic health and deal with a lot of things that we need mental in regards of mental health issues. It could be underlying traumas. It could be past situations that's causing us to have a reaction towards a certain health disparity that we might have. It's something in the lineage, you know, something in the essence, you know, it can be a lot of things spiritually, mentally, and emotionally that's also stopping us from making a lot of decisions. So when we start to become a little bit more responsible and aware, not just conscious awareness and just speaking about it, but just straight up using activity and action to find out more about it. We know how to make the foods that our grandmamas made. We just have to take out the junk so we can eat it a little bit healthier. You know, we don't have to overcook it and boil it down until it's dead in the water. You know, we can take it and lightly steam it, add less fat, add extra seasonings and spices, and make it taste good. This is what we here for. This is what we're gonna do. And I can't wait to try my food, you know. And
I can't wait either because I am so greedy. You just don't know.
I'm greedy. That's my job. I need y'all, you know. That makes it even better. I like greedy folks, you know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I love it, you know. And I like to feed people that like to eat, you know, because I grew up liking to eat. You know, it's like, how could you make cottage with no meat? I got you. You know, it's just about changing the spices. Spices are herbs also. We got to remember these things. All these are part of wellness. We need cayenne. We need ginger. We need cumin. We need cardamom. You know, we need cloves. These are all healing herbs. Right. You know, but we can't out them with a bunch of MSG on top of it and then a bunch of artificial sugars on top of it. You know what I'm saying? So we have to go into the original ways of using the foods that we know and the properties that it has so that we need it to adjust and heal ourselves. And it's nothing like it. You know, we have a chance to keep our culture preserved. You know, why take away, you know, the essence of how the food was created and made? You know, it's like having a Sankofa celebration, and on the table next to the Remembrance flowers and things, we got Big Macs and you know and pizzas. Then you know, you're not gonna do that.
Things you know? Even bugs won't touch. And I'm glad you said MSG because I haven't had MSG. I haven't had MSG or accent. I would say I'm going on 10 years, somewhere like that. And I just ordered some food from someone who is making food from home. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but I got a headache. I felt like I had just taken some medicine. You know how you take medicine and you can just feel it in your body, whatever that medicine is supposed to do. And I got a headache, and I was sitting there. I was like, why? Yeah, I was like, why do I feel like that? The food was good, but you know, it was just something. And then I thought about it, and I kept eating some more. I was like, oh yeah, I can taste the accent. I forgot how that tasted. And
you know, when you get hit with a bunch of sodium, you know. You can get that automatic headache now because it's just like your blood
like after a couple of bites.
Right, your blood reacts to it. It goes in. You know, salt pulls a lot of moisture. You know, and pulls a lot of oxygen from our bodies. You know, and the more sodium that we put inside of us, the more dehydrated our bodies can be, and our internal organs can be also. It strips away nutrients. It dehydrates the body. It doesn't give it the vital minerals that it needs to sustain it. And then it causes those reactions. You know, when the blood is trying to filter it and it pushes against the arteries on the walls and it starts to press. So that's where your headache is coming from.
That's what it felt like. That's exactly what I felt that throughout my whole body. Like it just felt weird.
You had a salt rush, not a sugar rush, but a salt rush.
A salt rush.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And the main thing you do when you have those things is douse plenty of water. Douse plenty of water. You
And
know.
I see that. That's all I wanted was water after that. I wanted
Right,
to
right. See, your body already knew.
salad. I wanted
What you
salad
needed.
and yeah. Mhm.
Right, right. I mean, we want to try people's foods, but and we want to support as best as we can. But make sure that the person that exactly what the person is cooking with, and they're, I guess we're not gonna just break down your whole plate,
Right.
But you should be able to say this is a low fat, low sodium. I use natural ingredients, so I just, we just got to know nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta ask. I didn't even know people still use accents, so it shocked me. It shocked me. I didn't know. I thought everybody was aware that that's literally a chemical, and it comes from no plant, it's literally
You got drugged up. You got drugged up.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there's a way. Now, eat a honey bun and a Pepsi. Let's see how you can get drugged up. That's a drug up right there too.
Right.
Oh yeah. Chemical rush. Go in the morning time and get a coffee with about 6 sugars and about 5 creams.
Right.
And
that's me in the mornings.
Oh.
I'm working on that, but yeah.
Dunkin' Donut, they got the donuts in the area right now next to the coffees now. Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kremes. So so that's your sugar rush, and we're so chemically wanting to be on that high naturally in the morning. We walk around like drug addicts. I'm trying to tell you. But at the same time, what we can do to change that is because realistically, there's something that my teacher, and rest in peace, Dr. Africa, telling us about coffee, which it didn't really hit me. It's like we're eating every day bean soup. You know what I'm saying? Because coffee is a and of course we're breaking down that bean is high in what? Potassium, high in carbs, is caffeine and starches. So we get, and then we putting sugar on top of the bean, and now we're adding dairy on top of the bean,
Mm-hmm.
So now we're eating a bowl of bean sugary soup, with cow in it, and then we're trying to stay up,
Right.
So there's a lot of different things that we can use. Dandelion root is a great substitute for brewing a nice cup of coffee. Including dandelion, some blackstrap molasses. You can make a nice, put some cloves in it, some cinnamon. And because cinnamon is a natural stimulator. That naturally stimulates your body. I'm using natural sweeteners to naturally sweeten it. So they want us, and the food service industry is doing a damn good job keeping us in their pockets, promoting their foods, and bettering their world. That's what it all boils down to, So that's what we got to go back to. Here we go. We got to Sankofa into our agricultural system. We got to Sankofa into our teaching of the children. Put home economics back in the schools, or at least have somebody out there that's going to teach us how to eat the way our ancestors ate, the way we ate, the way we're supposed to eat, without all the chemicals coming from, these things that's preserving us. Yeah, we're being preserved and we're being pickled and we're being poked at programmed, and in this systematic mentality when then 10, 15, 20 years down the line, we're trying to figure out where the dementia came from.
Right.
We're trying to figure out 15, 20 years down the line, why is grandma forgetting stuff, And it hurts us because we don't understand it and we don't want them to go through it, but we got to be responsible and say, hey, we're going to be the generation that stops these generational curses nutritionally that's affecting our bodies.
Right.
And speak up about it. Don't have me get into the healthcare system.
Ms. Quanza, it just dawned on me what you say. You had to go cook. You got grown folks in your house.
Oh, listen. No, Miss Brenda. If I want my Listen, them boys in the kitchen.
They
I can't.
learn to clean it. Listen, you raising what's going to be future husbands.
I tell them all the
nieces.
Future kings.
Miss Brenda, I tell them all the time, y'all better make sure y'all marry y'all a woman who enjoys taking care of you, because I mean, and I made them do things growing up. They just don't do a good job at it. You know what I'm saying? Like kitchen they'll clean the kitchen, but it ain't clean.
But they're not gonna
Shout out to my girl. You gave her that whole poster yesterday, but you see, I wanted her to have the weekend off.
That's my girl. That's my girl. She woke up and she cleaned that doggone house. Now my daughter, she'll do it. She'll get up and she'll clean up. She'll do it. But them boys, 3 of them here. I got my nephew too, Miss Brenda.
They're gonna want somebody that's gonna cook just like you. They're gonna want that. It's like my son. My son is like, you know, these are the principles, and I'm grateful to you for extending what was taught. And that what you receive, give thanks for that, that you can continue to pass it on. The thing is now is how do we get our sons in the future to identify a woman similar to this that have that type of lifestyle also, you know?
Right.
Get back into talking to the parents again. You know, we may not want to do it. It's okay for us to get involved. The next thing you know, we're gonna have somebody coming to the house like, what is this? You know? And you know, just really get him, you know, we got this.
We got this.
We're a great culture. We've been around. We ain't going nowhere. I love it. I love it.
Going nowhere.
I love it. It's been a great damn time right now. Corona, what? We're gonna get through this, and we're gonna keep on moving forward and celebrate our legacy and our culture. Give thanks to our ancestors for continuous blessings. Ashe. We want to give thanks to them for life, for making this Middle Passage ceremony something that we can commemorate and come together for every year.
365,
every year. That's right. For coming across the waters. Yes. For putting our feet and our hands in the ground. You know what I'm saying? To help us culturally, spiritually uplift and be descendants of great legacy. We have to give thanks. We have to give thanks.
I'm going to give thanks to both of y'all, because both of y'all didn't have no time, but Spirit said, boom!
Gonna do it.
Thank you. All right, that way I know that part.
Thank you, sister.